Welcome to Cooking from the Cave. I'm Chef Pete Truziak, and today I will be showing you how to make Huevos Rancheros. We're going to start off by roasting the peppers for the rioja sauce. And the rioja sauce is a combination of Mexican red peppers and some pasilla peppers that I have in here as well. To roast the peppers, these are dried peppers, to roast them, you need to turn your pan on to high heat. And then you're going to lay the peppers flat side down in that pan. You'll notice the peppers will change color over the time that it's over the heat. Probably be about 2 to 3 minutes to get it really nice and toasted. And what happens is the peppers, again, they're dried, the peppers will develop a smoky flavor. So these will go from being this black color to a reddish hue. The peppers have lightened up a little bit, but they're now a little bit more flexible and bendable than before, and that'll tell you that they're time to take them out of the pan so they're nice and roasted, so they're soft. They've changed to a redder color, and now we can start to make the rest of our rioja sauce. The key ingredient is obviously these peppers, but the other ingredients that you can add to them, and in this case we're going to add a little bit of, in the same pan we were roasting those in, we're going to add a little oil. I'm going to reduce my heat to medium. I'm going to add a half of a yellow onion. And this sauce gets blended up. So don't be afraid that I'm going to say add 6 whole cloves of garlic. You're just going to want to stay there and stir it until the onions caramelize or brown a little bit. What happens is the sugars in those onions start to react with the heat, and they'll brown a little bit on you with caramelization. And to help that process along, you're going to add about a half a teaspoon of salt. And while those are cooking, we can come over here to our peppers. And all you want to do is remove the stems and as many of the seeds as possible. At this point, once you do that, you can drop those in with the onions. And the seeds will kind of fall right out. Now again, this is the process of the smokiness is going to come out of these peppers. They're still slightly warm, so be careful. But you don't want all the heat that these seeds will give you. Stir your onions periodically. This is starting to smell great. You start to smell the garlic roasting. Alright, so we're going to discard the stems and the seeds. We're going to stir our sauce up. The onions have started to brown now. Now we can add our, it's about 3½ cups of vegetable stock. This is roasted vegetable stock. You can use water, you could use chicken stock. And we're going to bring this up to a boil. And if there's a few seeds in there, don't worry about it, that's okay. Once it comes up to a boil, we'll bring it down to a simmer, and we'll let it simmer for about 20 minutes before we do anything else to the sauce. The next step for Huevos Rancheros is going to be the beans, the vegetables, obviously the eggs, and the tortillas. Now, we're going to use corn tortillas here, so I'm going to deep fry them in about a ½ inch of oil that I have heating up in this pan right in front. I'm using this casserole dish as kind of my warming dish, so I'm going to move a lot of my vegetables. I'm going to move my vegetables as well as the tortillas in here, keep it warm in my oven while I'm going to cook the eggs, so everything can be served hot at the same time. Now this is a very hearty dish, great for breakfast, but also for dinner sometimes too if you're in a pinch. To fry the tortillas, when you get them out of the package, I want you to just bend them a little bit because they will stick together. And I'm going to just test the oil. What I'm looking for is the bubbles to come around the tortilla shell as I drop it in the oil. I'm going to stay really quiet here so you can hear it frying. Tortillas, you can hear it. The tortilla is going to puff up a little bit. It's going to rise up from the bottom of the pan to the top of the oil. Makes a little dome in there. And we're going to go ahead and, after it gets a little color on one side, we can go ahead and flip it. We're going to repeat this step with all 5 of our corn tortillas. And while these are frying, I'm going to heat up my small saute pan over here to saute some vegetables up. Alright, I'm going to show you what it's going to look like. It's going to have that nice golden color to it. Over here I have paper towels on a plate. I'm just going to lay that down, drop the next one in, and I'm going to repeat this step until all my tortillas are fried. I'm going to pull one more tortilla out of here, and I'm going to drop another one in. I know my pan over here for my vegetables is hot enough, so our next step is to add a little oil. This is just canola oil we're using. You can add the remainder of that yellow onion we used for our rioja sauce. So half an onion, one green zucchini. Let those saute up for 1 to 2 minutes. We'll just keep an eye on it, give it a shake. And we'll go back to our tortillas here and watch them fry up. Our last tortilla is in the oil frying up. The onions and the squash have gotten a little color on them. We can go ahead and add our peppers, and this is a green bell pepper as well as a yellow bell pepper, about medium size, not too large. If you only have green, you can just use green. I use yellow for color, but also we're using bell peppers for that texture, that crunch that it'll give you. Go ahead and get these sauteing as well. Check our tortilla, we'll give it a turn. And we'll let the vegetables cook for about another 5 minutes. We'll come back and I'll show you how to cook up the eggs. Our vegetables have caramelized nicely, so all we have to do is transfer them to the platter. Before we do that, we're going to put a little salt and pepper on them. And this dish is almost done. We have the eggs left to do, as well as we want to heat up our beans. And also we have to blend our sauce. Easiest way to do this, I'm going to get our food prep mixer over here, pour the sauce directly into it, and we will blend it up. Now with this sauce, because it's hot, you want to be careful to give yourself enough room for steam expansion. So if for some reason your blender is smaller than mine, or it starts to overfill with liquid and veggies, blend it in 2 different stages. I dropped the pepper. You can see those peppers that were one time black are now bright red. I've blended our sauce. It's a nice thick consistency, still pourable, great color. You just want to taste it, which I did. I just want to adjust the seasonings just a little bit, add just a pinch of salt to that, and just kind of set him off to the side till we're ready to use them and plate them up. Now, the most important step to the Huevos Rancheros are the eggs. We're going to take our eggs, and what I find is if you crack them on the side and into a dish that you can easily pour the eggs into, you can ensure that there's not going to be any shells or anything, other debris in there. You can also make sure the yolks stay solid. Use that tip, then also get your pan heated up. Once your pan is heated up, we're going to use some canola spray. Coat the bottom of the pan pretty liberally. Twirl that around. Let the canola spray heat up as well, maybe give it another 15 seconds. And then from there, you're going to pour this in. And I'm going to do 1 serving on this, so I'm going to give that, do 2 eggs per person. I'm going to slowly pour this in the pan. And what happens is the whites immediately start to cook. They kind of shimmy around on that canola spray. You want to control your heat at about a medium heat. I'm going to do these over easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for a majority of that white to actually solidify on it. I'm looking for larger bubbles from underneath the eggs to kind of cook more and more of that white. Once I feel like I'm about 50% of the egg white cooked, I can now flip it. Now, If you find that it's difficult to do 2 eggs at once, you can always cut these in half. And what I want you to do is I want you to be quick with your spatula when you're going to flip these eggs. So over easy, we're going to get the spatula underneath the egg, and I'm going to flip it over in one fell motion. So don't go slow, be fast. And then let them cook for about another 60 seconds on that side, and then I'll show you how to plate up this dish. Now, plate up for this dish is really simple. I'm going to take 2 tortillas, take some of my beans over here, which I've just slowly been warming up. And what I'll do is I'll throw in some green onions in there to give it some color. I also like to pour a little bit of the sauce in with the beans. Put the beans down after the tortillas. And remember, we fried these tortillas, so the little bit of moisture that you're going to get from the beans and the sauce that's incorporated into it really just kind of helps soften it up. Next thing are the eggs. Again, 2 eggs, 2 tortillas. Kind of push those beans around a little bit. I'm going to do the vegetables next. And then I'm going to go full boat on the rioja sauce. And then, of course, garnish it with a little cilantro. You could use more green onions if you would like. You could also use some cheese if you wanted to put some Monterey Jack on here, or even pepper jack cheese. But there you go, Huevos Rancheros. Simple recipe, yet extremely tasteful. Thank you so much for watching Cooking from the Cave. I'm Chef Pete Trusiak. I will see you real soon.